Hello and good evening to everyone watching. If you're watching live, welcome to Psychic Development with Inbaal. I'm Inbaal and I'm welcoming you to the Bigfoot Outlaw channel. We broadcast right now live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, Twitch, and on Instagram. If you're watching us on, I think, anything except Instagram, you can message us. It will show up below whatever you're watching the video on, but I'll be able to see it also on my screen in front of me, and I'll be able to flash up your messages like this message from Lorna Nicole that says, "You everyone," and Twisted, who says, "Hello, all, hey, Inbaal," and greeting each other very sweetly. Mwah. Hi, Lorna Nicole. I have this psychic development show podcast on the Bigfoot Outlaw Network every week. If you're not watching live, you should know that this was 10 p.m. in the UK, 5 p.m. East Coast, I want to say 2 p.m. West Coast. So we go coast to coast and around the world. I'm in the UK, but I know that our viewers and listeners are far and wide. We have people from all corners of the US get in touch. We've got loads of people from the UK coming with us, all our dedicated followers, and we've had people pop in from Australia, where it is, I think, like 9 a.m. now, from Sweden, all corners of the globe. So if you want to pop in and just say hi, feel free. But we also have a topic and free readings for everyone. My topic today will be astrological charts. And in order to illustrate how charts work, I thought it might be fun in the hope that we don't get pulled off air immediately. But I thought it might be fun to go through the chart of one Donald J. Trump and see all the different ingredients, all the signs and all the planets that make him the unique person we all know. And that's it. So if you are curious about your own chart and you know your date, time, and place of birth, I'll be able to do exactly the same for you. I've also got my trusty Thoth Tarot here for any specific questions. I've got a couple of crystal balls right here with me. Woo! And also a little one, a big one. And right behind me, let's bring to the front, I've got the Rider-Waite tarot deck. So these really are for questions for you. I'm not leaving the questions all the way to the end. I'm going to do the questions more or less as they come in. Like, obviously, if we get like a big avalanche and I can't do all of them together, but then you'll understand, you'll get it because you'll see the messages come to screen. But please don't hesitate. If you've got a question, even if you've asked it before, why not? Why not? Bring it on. So we've got a few comments, and then I'm going to do just a little explainer about what goes into an astrology chart, what goes into a star chart. So we've got you guys greeting each other. We've got Lena saying, "This is going to be interesting," with a super suspicious emoji. Do you know the beauty of an astrology reading, especially with a person whose public persona and personal persona is so well known, is that things are not really going to be surprising. They might be hilarious, but there's probably not going to be very many revelations where you'll go, "Oh, that is a shock. I did not know that this was going to show up." So I'm just flashing all the messages where you greet each other, just in case you didn't catch it, so that you can see. I've got Isa greeting me. Hi, Isa. How are you? So let me have a sip And then I'll explain when we say star chart, what exactly we mean. So we'll start with the fact that we all have a star sign. All the best of us have a star sign. The day that you're born, sometimes the time, will determine whether you're Pisces, a Sagittarius, a Capricorn. And I try not to like confuse it too much with the 13th sign that everybody always sort of wants to know about, or not everybody. In every show that we do on astrology, somebody wants to know about the 13th sign. I don't think it needs, it needs bothering with at this stage of evolution. So everybody knows what their star sign is. What is the star sign? So the moment that you're born, you have a star chart. Visualize that star chart as if it is a snapshot of all the planets in the solar system and the sun and the moon that are not exactly planets, I know. Denise says, I don't. Do you not have a star sign, babe? Have you got a date of birth? Maybe? So imagine a snapshot of the sky. So the complication with visualizing it is because obviously all the planets are kind of back and forth and all around, because our world is three-dimensional at least. But when you look at a star chart, it's flat. So that's why I'm saying visualize a snapshot, visualize a photo, visualize a painting of all the planets. So it's as if you see all of them and flatten them. The star sign, now once you flatten them, stand it up. You've got your circle. Let me try and find maybe a circle. So I'm looking for a tarot card with a circle in it. Oh, I'll just go with this one. So if, for example, this was your chart, then you divide it into 12 signs, and where your sun falls, the sun in the sky, where the sun falls in your chart, that is your sun sign, which we call the star sign. Your astrological sign, that's where the sun was. But what about the rest of the planets? So the rest of the planets might be scattered all on the outside. It's always on the outside, like you don't see them on the inside. All around the outside of the chart. So I'm going to show you the chart of the person that we're going to look at, just so that you see what a star chart looks like. So back in the day when I started doing this, it would be sort of quite hard to find like a computerized one. So you'd kind of draw it yourself. I think I've probably got some drawings. I'll show you in a second. But the person we're going to look at, this is the star chart. So you see it's a circle. That AC, that's the ascendant. I'm going to explain the ascendant in a minute, but the ascendant always goes straight to the side. Always the same. That's the one constant, the ascendant. And then we've got the planets around the perimeter. So you see we have the Sun, Mercury, Saturn, Venus, Pluto, Mars, Neptune, Jupiter. And then on the inside, you see the star signs. And then the reason you've got like lines in between is because the angles that the planets form between one another, they have meanings as well. But we're not going to go all the way into that. So that is what the sun sign is. I'm just curious if there's any of my old drawings. So I was going to say, a little embarrassingly, I learned all my beginner's astrology from Parker's astrology pack, not even from a book. Like there's books in it, but not even from a book. I'm a very experiential learner. I need to draw things and touch things and, and mess with them in my hands in order to fully understand them. So it came with instructions. And no, I don't see any sketches that I made here. Nope, but you'd kind of draw it, you know, on something like this. Now, you know, you could do it, but it's quite easy to sort of figure everything out on your phone, on your computer, and then you don't need to like calculate the ascendant, Haven, things that used to be sort of quite complicated. So we've got a massive shortcut. So with that massive shortcut in mind, I've got some more messages here that look really, really good. We're going to talk about the ascendant in just a moment. So Denise says, no, 17th of the 10th, 52. So Libra. Susan says, I have my chart on astro.com and would love to hear your thoughts on it. I would love to know. So I don't know how to like link accounts on astro.com. So do you want to like send me a message privately, or you can just sort of put like your sun, your moon. I don't know how you'd send, like you can go on my Instagram and send me a WhatsApp. Why not? And let me know if you did that, and then I'll be able to look at the image, I guess. Denise says, I'll go. Yeah, thank you. I'll go on there. Latro says hello. Colleen from the Horsey says, hi everyone, listening while I do horse chores in the cold, so I won't be in that much. Have fun in the cold. I hope it stays dry for you. Denise, greeting. And Susan says to Denise, do you have exact time of birth? So that's what we're going to be talking about exactly right now, about the ascendant and how that relates to the exact time of birth. Latra says, got an inch of snow, Twisty. Every inch matters. And Susan giving her time of birth, date of birth. And Susan says to Denise, okay, the exact time determines your rising sign. Mine is on birth certificate. Yeah, not everyone gets theirs on birth certificate. Twisted says to Latra, build a snowman. I used to use my birth very used to use my BC birth certificate so much it's all taped up. Yeah. And for Susan, right, so you're saying it's 26 of the 6th, 1959, 141 Atlanta, Georgia. Let me do that because I pulled up Trump's star chart on Astro Theme, which is so good for celebrity star charts. So let me pull yours up on here. So I'm doing Astro. This might look to you very, very boring to stare at, but I'm pulling up Susan's chart, saying hopefully any software will draw it quickly. Sabrina's here saying, I'm a Libra rising. Me too. This is why we're such chilled out babes. Are you working today? Personal portrait. Astro used to be sort of so easy and free to go on. I think they sort of got wise to that. So now I use the same name all the time. Right. So we've got for you 26th of June. So another Cancerian. I know that Sabrina's Cancerian as well. Oh, and Susan is also Cancer with Libra rising. That's the two of you. It'll be interesting to find out. So we've got 26th of June, 1959, 1:41 p.m. So yeah, I was saying it looks very boring to see what I'm doing now, but actually if I had to do it, like manually, it would have been so much more boring. Atlanta. How many Atlantas are there? Atlanta, Georgia. Right. Fabulous. Oh, it won't give me the whole thing if I'm not registered, and I don't register. So, um, ascendant available after registration. Sun in Cancer, Moon in Pisces, ascendant available. I'm going to pop on another platform to do that in a minute, because now, now I feel challenged that I need to look at it. Now I'm curious. But in the meantime, Aisha is here saying hi. Sabrina is saying, I'm leaving, just leaving the office. So the ascendant, I was going to explain to all of you what it is. You saw on the sample chart that I showed you that all the different planets and signs fall where they may, and for different people they could have completely different looking star charts. They might have all the planets sort of bunched up there, they might have Sagittarius here, but the ascendant is always here where it says AC, always. So what the ascendant is where the horizon was at the time that you're born. So for example, me, Susan, and Sabrina, all of whom have Libra rising, our horizon, with the moment that we were born, the horizon. So if you look over the sea, I guess, was in Libra. And so when you draw the star chart, the ascendant will be in Libra, and then everything after that will be in order: Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, and so on. Everything before will be in order. Hi, Alan. Everything before will be in order. So if that was Libra, then we've got Virgo before, we've got Leo before. And that's why the ascendant is quite important, because the ascendant kind of grounds the whole alignment of your chart. And then when you talk about your big three, it's your sun, your moon, and your ascendant. So we talked about the sun, we talked about the ascendant, and then the moon is just where the moon was at the time that you were born, and it can be anywhere in the chart at all. Now, because we're looking at a really interesting example person, let me tell you what DJT's big three are. So the incoming president is a Gemini. I want to hands up how many Geminis there are here. Geminis are generally good fun. Geminis are not ones for routine and laws and rules and boring meetings. When you've got Gemini sort of doing really, really well for themselves in this life, it's when they become, for example, club owners or work in hospitality, right? So it makes a lot of sense. Geminis want for day to be night. Isa, you're a Gemini as well. So let me flash up some messages from you. Who else is a Gemini? I'm guessing most of the Geminis are, out partying right now, and they're not, maybe they're watching us on the way in. Incidentally, anybody that would like a question, would like a reading, please send it in. I'm not saving it to the end. When it comes, I'll do it. So Donald Trump's sun sign is Gemini, which is perhaps not very common for world leaders, but yes, very common for hoteliers. And then his ascendant tells us a big part of the story, because his ascendant sign. So we've got another Gemini. Michelle is here. She's a Gemini as well. And Isa is a very interesting Gemini, 20th of June. So not only a Gemini, but very, very close to Cancer, and also very, very close to the midsummer. And Denise said, I went on Astro. My sun sign is Libra. Ascendant is Libra. So do you know what it means when your sign and your ascendant are the same? It means you were born at sunrise. And so at the time of your birth, the ascendant is Libra. That means the horizon was in Libra. But at the sunrise, the sun is on the horizon. So your sun sign is Libra as well. Alan says, I am Sag, but I've had 3 Gemini extremely close friendships. Geminis and Sagittarius are such a fabulous combination. So first of all, they are polar opposites. If you look at them on the chart, basically, they're exactly 6 months apart. So there's a great compatibility between all the polar opposites. So I'm Pisces. Pisces and Virgo are a great combination. Aries and Libra. So they're polar opposites, but also because Sagittarius is a free spirit like no other, and Gemini is a party animal as well. So those are the close friendships. I always find myself, interestingly, Alan, surrounded by Sagittarians. And the interesting thing, and I don't know if you can confirm that for you as well, with Sagittarians is that they will be like amazing friends, really, really, really close, really intense, and then kind of vanish. They've got something else to play with. They don't feel like it's important to keep up the friendship. And then when they return, because I have my moon in Sagittarius and I really appreciate having a break from people sometimes, when they return, for me, it's very exciting, but perhaps a Sagittarian will find that other personalities don't really enjoy this sort of on again, off again kind of dynamic in a friendship. So Sagittarius is not like everybody's favorite friend, but it's always been my favorite friend. And in fact, 3 of the really good friends I've had throughout my life share a birthday. It's 26th of November. 3 of them, 3 that have been really, really close. 2 of them were the same year. So yeah, Alan says, yes, I confirm. Absolutely no shame in that. So we're looking, just as an example of a very, very public person, we're looking at Donald J. Trump's signs, like star chart. And his sun is in Gemini. So we're saying sort of very sort of party animal, suits hospitality, but his ascendant is in Leo. An ascendant is kind of the voice in your head. It's those compulsions or quirks. And for the ascendant to be Leo, which Leo is so proud, has to be center stage, that really explains the kind of devotion to winning, success, gold. Lorna says, I wonder if Melania's sign is compatible with Donald. Do you know, I've never looked into it. It's not bad, because the reason I know a lot about his chart is because I do a lot of star charts, like for the press. I covered the inauguration yesterday for, like, you know, for body language details, that awkward kiss under the hat. There's like 4 articles in different newspapers with my name on it. So I have been asked by the press to look at his compatibility with JD Vance, but I don't remember if anyone's ever asked me for compatibility with Melania. So yeah, if we've got some time on the end, I might love that. Susan says, oh my God, Leos have huge egos. They do. And this is going to absolutely floor you. So if I remember correctly from doing the compatibility, so Donald Trump is Gemini with Leo rising. So, you know, in a way, it minimizes the ego thing, because it's like, it's all for play. It's all for play. And because Gemini is so playful, that even when they lose, they can talk themselves into believing that they won. So, you know, so it stops them from getting in the ring, getting in the arena again and again. But JD Vance, I think, is a Leo with Leo rising, right? Do I have to explain how mind-blowing that is? Let me make sure. Let me make sure I got it right. JD Vance star chart. Definitely Leo. And yeah, Leo rising. I did remember that correctly. So yeah, really interesting. But going back to Trump, his moon sign is my moon sign, and that is Sagittarius. And Sagittarius moon, Susan knows why she's shocked. Leo rising. She says that's why Vance was top in military. And oh my goodness. So Susan says married to Leo. I don't know if he's watching and like seeing your comments. But run and check if you're still married after that. But Leo rising, yeah, doesn't just need like the one title. Leo rising needs like the next title and the next title and the next title, and needs to sort of be really successful. However, in a really interesting way, the Sagittarius. Denise has a good question. Does ascendant mean rising? Yes, ascendant means rising. Right? Think about it. To ascend is to rise. So that is where the horizon is. It's all the same word. Sabrina is sharing here in our safe space saying, I was married to Leo. And Susan says, oh, no, he's not. I tease him about his ego. I bet he loves that. And Sabrina says, my moon is in Leo. Isa says, oh, such a good question. Can we have some tips on how to use a Querence star sign in a tarot reading? 100%. I'm actually putting that on the side because I want to dedicate a few minutes to it and potentially a whole show to it, because I'm pretty sure in my tarot course I've got a whole lesson about it, because it's such an important topic. But that would be more of interest for people that read the tarot themselves. So Trump's Sagittarius moon, same as my Sagittarius moon. Sagittarius moon are free spirit in a really free spirited in a really extreme way. Sagittarius moon will rarely like live where they were born or stay in one place forever and ever. So for me personally, yeah, not making this about myself, but just using as an example, for me, it makes a lot of sense. I was born in Israel in a specific town. When I had to do my mandatory service, I was initially placed in a very nearby base so that I could go home every night. I fought that and got eventually placed in a very far away base. So that was a very Saggy moon thing to do. You know, I want to be far away. As soon as that finished, I went to like the furthest corner to a resort, to work in a resort. And then I moved to Greece, then to London, then to Yorkshire. And I've been here 15 years now. I've been here 15 years. But my Sagittarius moon means that whenever somebody tries to book me to like do a job in London, I'm in the car. It's like a 4-hour drive. I don't care. My Saggy moon is in there. Susan says, I sent you an image of my chart on Instagram Messenger. I do have time to look at it. Let me have a little look. I love how this is all live and interactive. Look how we're doing this. Request, Susan, image cover. It's really funny how they don't cover, you know, the banana pics, but they've covered the picture of, okay. I know that you asked earlier about the trine, and it is quite a beautiful trine. Yeah, I'll refer to that later. But what is really interesting is that all of your planets, am I allowed to show that? All of your planets are bunched together except for that trine. They're really, really beautiful. I feel like I'm not enough of an expert to really sort of give you the best info about it. But it's interesting that the planets are bunched together not far from the ascendant, because in our example tonight, his planets are bunched together not far from the ascendant. Susan says, Sag Moon, lots of energy, jealous. I know, but Sag Moon is like a toddler. Me, and also the leader of the free world, like a toddler. So we'll be like energized, like, active, 26 hours a day, and then flat. You cannot move us. We need to recharge. And it's like that with sleep. It's like that with food. I find that it's a real kind of bingey placement. Nom, 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 eat. And then, it can go like 2 days without eating anything. So, so this is Susan's chart. I have permission. I can show it. This is Susan's chart. And I don't know if you can see that the planets are fairly bunched together quite near the ascendant. And we've got that triangle there. The triangle means that 3 major planets, I suppose Mercury, Jupiter, and the moon, 3 major planets form a large triangle, and it means all of them are in water signs, because when it's a triangle, then it will skip 4 signs, come to a water sign again. It's really, really interesting. But I'll refer to it, by itself. Interesting with the Saggy moon. Now, then after we look to the big 3, we look at the next trio of planets: Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Mercury is the way that you talk. It's how you come across verbally, how you argue, what you like when you have to sign contracts. It's all matter of communication. Venus is what you like in love, and Mars is what you like in passion. For those of you lucky enough, it's the same, but not for everybody. Your Mercury sign can only be your sun sign, or the one after, or the one before. Your Venus sign can only be your sun sign, or one of the 2 after, or one of the 2 before. So going back to Trump, his Mercury, so that will be his way of communicating, is in Cancer. That's a bit shocking. His Mercury is in Cancer, and his Venus is in Cancer. I'm like, is this thing on? Is that real? Because Cancer is a very kind, very gentle sign, very family oriented. Maybe that's the kind of person he is with his family. And Venus is also in Cancer. So again, a very, very loving sign. However, his Mars, which is passion, is in Leo again. And so if he was to take an interest with somebody who's not his main partner, for example, that would be for reasons of Leo, for reasons of wanting to feel empowered, wanting somebody else to be admiring of him, rather than for reasons of love. I must say, this is very, very interesting. And after we looked at those 3 that are quite important, then we've got Jupiter and Saturn, which are kind of opposites of the same concept. Jupiter is the planet of generosity, expansion, wealth, huge concepts, loads of money, where Saturn is actually the planet of being frugal, planning ahead, very serious. So we're literally only using Trump because he is such a big figure and so current, but everybody's charts are interesting. I guarantee you. You always look at a chart, like I always look at a chart and I think, wow, because nobody can show like their full self. So you'll always find some secrets there. And so Trump's Jupiter is actually in Libra. And so his generosity is really linked with balancing things out. He believes that the way that he doles out his money is the right and just way. That's personal belief. And his Saturn, and that's a matter of, like I said, sort of more grown up, more frugal, is again in Cancer. Now, I really want a show of hands, especially from people who know Cancerians or who are Cancerians themselves. I want a show of hands. Who else is really surprised that three main planets, not like the main planets, but but three personal planets, we'll say, are actually in Cancer? And I suppose how many of us are not at all surprised that three, one lead. So we've got the ascendant, then Mars, and then Pluto are all in Leo. And how curious when two such divergent signs find their way to each other. Yeah, there we go. We've got at least one hand in the air. Let me go through a few. Woo. Susan says, I feel like I should have had a more interesting life with a grand trine. I know what you mean. And sometimes what comes up in your chart doesn't reflect how you view your life, but it might reflect how others view your life. Because I think perceptions are very interesting. Do you know what I mean? That other people might think, you've really had it easy or would envy you for some or another thing. So the fact that you're trine with the moon and Jupiter, I think is really interesting, because Jupiter really is sort of all that wealth, generosity, my favorite planet. I love it. I see it as kind of big and jolly, and obviously with the Sagittarius and Pisces. So Pisces is ruled by the planet Neptune, but before Neptune was discovered, Pisces was under the auspices, under the watchful eye of Jupiter, and of course Sagittarius is under that same watchful eye. So I love Jupiter. I find that it's like, it's big, it's a big planet. It drinks too much. It talks dirty. Love it. So your link between Jupiter and the moon, I think, is really, really interesting, because it shows that sort of that hugeness actually connected to maybe how you are after hours, or how you are, when nobody's watching. And then that creates that trine with Mercury, which is the way that you speak. And I don't know if you're really good at picking up languages, or you find a way to sort of speak easily to anybody, whatever their personality. But yeah, it's certainly interesting. Now, very much like Trump, your planets are all over that Cancer Leo corner, aren't they? So you've got the Sun and Mercury in Cancer, Mercury communication. And then in Leo, you've got both Venus and Mars, which is fun to see together, because it means that what you fancy sort of in a passionate way is also what you fall in love with. Not all of us are that lucky. And then, who is this little guy? Is that Uranus in Leo as well? I think it's Uranus, sorry. Uranus. So you've got a nice little clump of planets in the same place, in the same area. Oh, I lost your there you go. Yeah, I'm putting a heart on it so that the algorithm knows that we know each other. So when we look at a star chart, these are the planets that we relate to. These are the planets that we refer to. There are three other planets ish that are known as kind of the outer planets, which are Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. They were only discovered like in the 1930s and after. And in fact, about a decade ago, Pluto had got downgraded, so it's not counted as a planet anymore. But because those planets are so far away, they take between, I think, like 12 and 20 years to go all around the sun. And so everybody in your graduating class and the 6 years before and the 6 years after will all have the same Neptune sign, the same Pluto sign. And so they're seen as generational planets. And so, for example, no, I don't have a really good example. For example, if I got some more Sagittarius, so if I've got some more Sagittarius in one of my generational planets, I'm very, very sure that I do. And that, that's an extra little nugget to make me more adventurous, but it also means that everybody I went to school with was quite adventurous. And it was true. Our generation was, I think, the first generation that could, just kind of go abroad almost every year, whereas the generation before, I know my parents were 40, I think, probably 38, 40 the first time that they were on a plane. So those are kind of the generational planets. That's what they influence. We've got a reading question. Got a reading question from Sabrina, who says, and please send in your reading questions. We haven't done any. I will relate to Issa's educational question, psychic development question, very, very shortly. So Sabrina says, I have an interview this Thursday. Can I get a reading on how it will go, please? The interview Thursday is a yay or a nay. Ooh, it really hangs in the balance. It really hangs in the balance. It feels like they've got a door open for somebody that used to work there who they think might be coming back. So they're kind of keeping that person as a first option, but out of everybody else, you're at the top. So if that person who I think is getting a better offer elsewhere, if that person doesn't take it, it could really, really be yours. So good luck with it. Oh, amazing. Let me go through some of the messages that I missed. There we go. So we did this. Denise saying, well, thank you for explaining this. Absolutely would love. You say my Mercury and Venus are both Scorpio. That's quite secretive, quite mysterious, and also perhaps falling in love with people are quite secretive, quite mysterious. My Mercury and Venus are the same sign as well. So that's interesting. Mine are Aquarius, which I'd trade with you. I'd trade with anybody. I like Ike says, I'm a high karate kind of guy. Loving it, loving it. And we've got some more greets. I'm flashing your greets down on the screen. And Twisted says, very interesting. Sabrina says, I can see the Leo in him. And Susan says, I'm not surprised at anything about his chart. I like Ike says, wave him like you just don't care. Issa says, kind of surprised about the Cancerian parts. Do you know, I think the Cancerian parts really explain how fragile he can be. No disrespect, but do you know what I mean? To taking things to heart. Susan says, yes, I guess I've had it easy in spite of myself. That's true. What a way to receive the compliment and reject it in one sentence. Sabrina says, I'm completely surprised he has any cancer. I really think it's the fragility that reveals it. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of really, really struggling to come second place to anything. I like Ike says, what do you mean before Jupiter was discovered? I know the Romans knew it, and no telling how far before that. Yeah, no, Jupiter is also what do you call it? Visible. That was a hard word to discover. Visible to the naked eye. No, sorry, I meant Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. I'm sorry if I misspoke. Jupiter definitely discovered. But yeah, until around the 30s, it was counted as just kind of the um, 7 planets of the solar system. And since then, we have, the others. Twisted says, gift of gab. I like Ike says, I like speakeasies. Susan says, I'm like Trump. And says Uranus in Leo too. That is interesting. So saying Mars Uranus conjunction in Leo, which I think means I value my freedom above everything else. Yes. So Uranus is the planet of rebellion, and Mars is the planet of war. You will fight with your teeth if anyone tries to hold you back from doing things your own way. Sabrina says, sweet, thank you. And Lorna Nicole says, could I have a reading, please? Doo-doo has really hit the fan at work this past week or two. Secretaries leaving and not being replaced. Up road with extra workload for those still in the department. Let's see. That sounds really mind-blowing. Do you know what? Instead of going with a thought, let me go with the rider weight, because I find that it's more like, straight down the barrel. So let's ask, what's going on? Yeah, more people will be leaving. More people will be leaving. Now, the people that remain will be valued, treated much better, but not receiving an extra cent and not receiving any, any leeway. So it's going to take you a while, but unless people will be replaced, which they're not, unless people are going to be replaced, you're going to find yourself in a few months thinking, is my future better elsewhere? Let me show you. So this is the people that have left. This is not just leaving. They were like launched out of there. This is the people that remain, treated very kindly, but, still not even an extra pair of knickers, right? And then this is you. Could be a few months from now, could be up to 2 years from now, but not longer, thinking, should I look for other things? Should I stay where I am? So it really is a time of kind of soul searching. And Issa goes, oh, that makes sense. Cancer can be a bit fragile. Yeah, absolutely. So let me go back to a really good psychic development question that Issa had sent earlier in the show. Incidentally, for everybody here, if you're new here, I've not seen a lot of new faces. Make sure you say hi. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, and stay here with us, because we have got some programs. Like if you're not into tarot, that's great. We have mediumship shows. We have UFO shows. We have shows about solving cold cases. Everything is going on here. So, Issa, when I need the person's star sign, I usually do it in conjunction with when I need to look at love compatibility. And then I'll take the other person, the one who's not their star sign. So let's say, for example, we're looking at compatibility between, I've got, say, sorry, I'm just sort of seeing which one comes up first so I can demonstrate it the quickest. Let's say I've got a Gemini coming in for a reading, the Lover's card, and they want to know about their partner who is a Pisces, the Moon card. So I will ensure that I pull out the major arcana card that relates to that star sign. Obviously, it doesn't have to be the major arcana, because within the minor arcana, every star sign has got a minimum of 3 cards. And even if they're not really sure which star sign it is, I'll take maybe a couple and sort of put them on top of one another just to represent the person, so that we've got their energy here with us. But because I wouldn't want just the card of the person who's not there, then I'll take the card of the person who is there. Now, the person who is receiving the reading, whether they're in front of you at a psychic fair or in a carnival, or whether they're on the phone with you, or whether even they're just texting, their energy already is in the reading. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to summon it via their star sign. So if you feel that it would enhance, take the star sign card, put it on the side. You know, the tarot works just fine if you need to use some cards for, for other things. It'll still work 100% exactly the same way that it would have done without it. But I personally rarely find need to sort of bring in the energy of somebody who's already there with me. So I hope that answers the question. And let's see what else we've got here. Right. I'm just scrolling, and I could see, as I was scrolling, I could see a hilarious message from I Like Ike, who says, sorry, I'm going to look at everybody else's. I'm going to look at everybody else's messages, but this just made me crack up as I was scrolling, saying, not into tarot, but I'm into pretty ladies. Lol, not kidding. Your, sorry, your compliment is taken and appreciated. Thank you very much. Even if you didn't mean me, I don't care. That's what it sounded like, and I'll take it. So we've got the Lorna says, yep, and all work piled on them and fully expected to be done with same quality. Yeah, I don't want to sort of get too much into it, but my partner has had to leave a couple of jobs exactly because of situations like that, when employers don't replace the workforce. It's just like mathematically impossible, isn't it? So Twisted says, Lorna, can I ask your profession? And Lorna says NHS surgical secretary. I think it's not just the NHS, like it's bad in the NHS, but he works civil service as well. And it is across the board, because there's been a pay freeze and a hiring freeze. You pay freeze and a hiring freeze together. What? Who came up with that concept? Nobody would pitch it. But yeah, that is bananas. Alan says it's a fantastic channel. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you enjoy it. Twisted says, Lorna, do you have to transcribe or book appointment? And there we go. Oh, Alan says, I'm Brenda, Alan's friend. Okay, cool. Isa says, that's a very interesting technique. Thank you very much. Lorna says, I suppose now is like a good moment to say, well, I have like a big tarot course. Get in touch with me if you want to get on it. Get in touch with me to sort of find out when there's like, big discounts going on it and stuff. Lorna says, oh yes, transcribing is when you have nothing urgent going on. We have a lot of cancers, everything urgent, 9 consultants, very busy unit, colorectal, bless, quite pressurized, and they all want their work doing first, obviously. Yeah. Also, from literally everybody in the country, thank you. Thank you for keeping the NHS going. By the sound of it, by yourself. Says, none of us are lazy and we're all conscientious. Twisted said, Lorna, I can transcribe for 10 cardiologists. I know the stress. Wow. That is bonkers. Thank you, Twisted, for doing the amazing work that you do. And actually, thanks to everybody. So today we had a lot of fun together. We enjoyed the opportunity to understand a lot more about star charts, to inspect the star chart of the newly minted leader of the free world. So I started saying it like this as a joke. I know it's true, but I started saying it because I thought it sounded, exotic. And now I can't stop. I'm going to be here, same time, different topic next week. In the meantime, between now and next week, I'm going to be doing a lunchtime show, lunchtime UK time, with Laura Dallaghan on Thursday. It's 11:30 UK time, and it will be I suppose 6:30 in New York. So if you're not sleeping, join us. You can obviously watch it later on. We call it Psychic Brunch, except for that Laura calls it Psychic Second Breakfast. And on Monday morning at 9 a.m., so it's when you guys in California are, it's 1 a.m., you might still be awake. I'm going to be on here with Tor on Predict the Week, which we do every Monday. I appreciate you joining me on this very fun evening. I'm going to flash your final messages across the closing credits. Remember to like and subscribe. I have been Inbaal, and thank you so much for spending this gorgeous hour with me. I had the best time.